Peace, love, and wellness. Welcome to a little oracle reading with your favorite complex earth angel. If you would like to stick around for this timeless reading, do so. If you're an artist and an intuitive, you might be inspired by the card deck that I'm using today, which is the Beyond Lemuria deck by Izzy Ivy. Um, when you get a look at these cards as I reveal the messages of the day, then I think you'll find them pretty inspiring if you are someone who's into vibrant color and ethereal, spiritual, and metaphysical things, especially. Um, yeah, especially if you are into, I'd say, ethereal things and purples and blues, because the purples and blues come through on here so much, which makes sense when you think about it, because like when you think of the chakras, purple and blue both correspond to communication centers. Blue being your throat chakra, and it literally being, what you speak, what you vibrate, what you sing, and so forth, what you express. And with your third eye or ajna center being that all seeing eye, or your ability to look at and visually connect with things that may not be tangible or in the physical. Seeing beyond the physical, that's a good one. Okay, anyhow, now that you got a brief intro to this deck, which I will probably do a review on at some point, that is the deck that I'm utilizing today for the collective message. So I sat here, got my space ready, talked to my spirit guides and all of that. And I pulled these cards in a space that was both protective and heart centered. So may these messages be here to serve only your highest and greatest good. Just a reminder for anyone seeing a reading from me for the first time, or who may have not watched the reading at all. This is a collective reading, so you may be able to extract things from this and have a point of reflection. Likewise, there may be pieces that simply do not resonate, and I encourage you to take what resonates and apply it, and if it don't apply, then let it fly. So there is my disclaimer. The card spread that I did today is just about, today's messages. So the first card is, what should we be aware of today? The second card is, what can we grow from? And the third card is, where should we put our energy? I will have my guidebook over here, and I have a few pages kind of bookmarked in the event that I want to go to those pages to discuss certain themes or keywords. Okay, so the first card that, or the first question that prompted this reading today was, what should I be aware of, or rather, what should we be aware of as a collective? And for this one, actually, two cards popped out. Those cards were number 33, A Journey to Wellness, and number 52, The Violet Flame. Okay, so I'm going to go over those cards one at a time, and I did want to throw some keywords out before I give my own intuitive message, okay? So this card right here, 33, when I first looked upon it, being a very visual person, what I noticed was the various shades of colors, like this woman is a hybrid between a human and an octopus, and her tentacles are different colors, kind of like rainbow colors or chakra colors, even if they're not the exact same shade, right? And so, looking at her hair and looking at the various colors in her tentacles, I immediately thought about complexity. Um, Go figure with a name like complex, right? Um, but complexity in the sense of that humans, no matter how, you know, boring or dull a person may feel that they are, as humans, we are all very complex beings made of all these different colors, all these different aspects, all these different attributes, all these different stories, all these different centers of intelligence. And looking at this card, which has so much going on, um, I think about how there is the good, the bad, and the ugly, or the parts of ourselves that are shiny and beautiful to us or to others, and the parts that we kind of leave to the shadows. And with this number being 33, which reduces down to 6, balance, responsibility, and so forth, um, I took all of that and looked at it like, okay, this card is speaking about honoring all the facets of yourself as the complex human being, soul, spirit that you are, but also honoring that in others. So rather than looking at people's potentials, really regarding them and loving them for who they are in the moment. That's really what this card is about. Um, Now, according to the guidebook, some keywords are self acceptance, wholeness, unconditional love, accepting others as they are, staying energetically present, accepting all parts of self, and healing internal dis-ease. Hmm. Um, this card is about loving yourself and others from a sense of wholeness, exactly as you are right now. It is only from this place that healing can take place. We may find ourselves in relationships or scenarios where we can see great potential. We may have concepts of others that are not really who they are due to subconscious projections or ideals. We could have the idea that we will feel better about ourselves when we achieve a goal or status. The success will somehow make everything better. Unfortunately, this takes us out of the present and makes our love somewhat conditional. To be a healer, transcend the perspective that the being in front of you needs to be fixed. Hold the vision that they are perfect as they are. Mm. This is a card about embracing that full spectrum. Like I said, embracing the full spectrum of ourselves and of others. And it encapsulates this idea that healing, um, healing happens from a place of acceptance, which in my mind brings me back to the idea of grief and the stages of grief. Acceptance is one of those. So too, acceptance, it should be a part of our path, and getting to know others, relationship building, and knowing and shining a light on ourselves. So yay for acceptance. Now, part two, right? The second card that jumped out was 52, the violet flame. And I wonder if you guys are noting the repeated themes across these different cards as I pull them, or simply taking in the beauty and complexity of them. Um, but what I noticed first, going from 33 to 52, is the eyes. And once again, that idea of using different bodies of intelligence or intelligence centers within ourselves, or using different eyes or different perspectives, different ways to look at things and seeing beyond the physical. So this card, the Violet Flame, definitely involves seeing beyond the physical, because look at all this energy that's swirling around. It's like, it's painting the figure's connection to the universe through energy and through color, um, and kind of showing, the fact that we are interconnected, and we kind of have this energy at our disposal in the way that we can manipulate, like, or connect to, like she's manipulating it in her hands, is what it looks like to me. um and manipulation doesn't mean a bad thing when it comes to manipulating your energy or the energy around you. I mean, creating energetic boundaries, which is one aspect of this card, is a way that we manipulate our energy to protect ourselves, to ground ourselves, to find a cutoff point or a distance between ourselves and the next being. Um, Now, I'm going to go to the guidebook to see what it has to say about this, because for me, this card is deeply spiritual and transformative, noted by like the butterflies and the stars, honoring our magic and utilizing the energy around us, to raise our vibration, to balance ourselves, and ultimately just to be healthy and complete. um, so it says some keywords associated with this word are, your psychic toolkit, recentering practices, deepening your energetic awareness, clearing your aura, healthy energetic boundaries, protection, removing trauma from your field, maintaining a high vibration, as well as rebalancing after times of raised frequency. That's one thing we talk about that I think sometimes can get a little black and white when people talk about like, high vibration versus low vibration. And fact is, no matter who you are, um, there are different energies around us or within us that are of varying frequencies, and our growth paths are not linear. Sometimes you're up here, then you're down here a few hours later, then you're up there, and so forth. So balancing is something that's very important. And I think that's really interesting that this comes up in this card, which is 52, reducing to 7, coming right after that 6, which is about balance. And so 6 is where you find and, start to really set the tone for balance. But 7 is like, it's within 7 that you have that sustained balance, because it's a step above. So anyway, this is kind of about, shadow work and integration. Um, Knowing that, you know, having highs and lows is a natural part of our experience. And just because you have a low, it doesn't mean that you are low. Okay? Um, But this does call on us to reflect and really think about what centering practices, what energetic boundaries, what auric protection rituals we have for ourselves. I definitely have them for my. I definitely have quite a toolkit that has expanded greatly over the past few months and continues to expand because I am a sensitive being and I truly wish to connect genuinely with others and provide upliftment and understanding, and being someone who enjoys and finds myself in situations where I am acting in the role of support, of upliftment. um, I have to fill my cup up and make sure that my cup is the, a nice, shiny, sparkly cup of magic water so that I can pour into others, um, and not be drained and be able to give them something from a place of well being, from a healthy place. So, anyway, these centering practices, things like meditation, things like grounding, clearing your energy, setting the tone for your environment with scents, with visuals, with crystals, with energetics, however that looks like for you, and really taking a moment to disconnect from the things outside of you. It's kind of a necessary for all of us in the present day. Because there's so many opportunities for stimulation and disturbance or disruption. Um, so maybe think about what ways you um, keep yourself energetically aligned and refreshed, and what you can turn to when you get down into those lows. Self care. Self care is beyond the capitalist aspect. Okay, we're not going to go to the capitalist aspect. Now, if you're a Venusian, which some of us are, like me, um, if you're a Venusian, there may be times where something that, costs money, um, is an aspect of your self care. But don't feel like you have to have money in order to truly love on yourself the way that you deserve to. Um, and at the end of the day, so many things are in energetic exchange. So whether it's money or some other kind of currency, we're spending something, right? All right, so back to the reading. Let's keep on track here. The next card is answering the question, what can we grow from? And the card that we got is 29, Harmonic Flight. Now, this card reduces to 11, which would then be reduced to 2. So you can apply the vibration of the 11 and the 2 to this card. And right off the bat, when I look at this card, the first thing I notice is that the sun is shining its light on an infinity symbol. And it is under the infinity symbol and this spiraling light that there are these two forces, two beings, two colors being united. This is a card about unity. Go figure, it reduces to 2, right? Cooperation, collaboration, and honestly, if you guys take a second and just look at how lovingly the two energies are looking at each other, this card ties in so well to the cards we got before this, because this is about, again, honoring that full spectrum of others, but even more so just loving yourself and others from a place that's unconditional, and looking at others from a place of divinity. Um, I think it's beautiful that, there's also the masculine and feminine dynamic illustrated. If you look at the shapes of the faces, for example, the orange one looks more masculine and the blue or violet one looks more feminine. Um, but even then, there's almost like these universal attributes that they have, so that it's not like, you're going to specifically say that one corresponds directly to the feminine principle only and one is the male only, or, this is a woman and a man. We're not taking it that far because um, this doesn't have to be about two different people. This can be about the energies within yourself converging to a point of love. But anyway, I'm trying. I can get a little woo woo. Thank you for having patience with me. Um, this card, some keywords for it within the guidebook are seeing the divine in the eyes of another, um, clearing illusory projections, life changing connection, transmuting dissonance, removing heart armor, being seen, teamwork, relationships with deep bonds, and karmic connections. So this is also like the twin flame card in this deck. And if you're familiar with twin flames and the twin flame journey, you can definitely see how that's represented visually in this card. So I'm going to read a bit from this one because I love her stories and her messages. If you're a detail oriented person, you like a lot of detail when you're reading about the guidance behind a card's creation, I highly suggest this deck because, like, she has pages sometimes. Oops. And then she has a divinatory meaning that's shortened. So I'm going to read the divinatory meaning. Put those to the side. Okay. What you see in the eyes of another is a reflection of yourself. This card may be encouraging you to look at the bigger picture of a close relationship. A perceived challenge may be an illusion or projection. This card may relate to family, teamwork, community, and ways you can harmonize dissonance for deeper growth. The bonds you share give you the power to transmute your fears. Put time and awareness into resolving karmic connections, or they will continue to play out. There may also be a life-changing connection on the horizon. Oh man, that part about putting time and awareness into resolving things, that just really stood out for me in a way because there are times and I say we because I include myself, I include us all, there are times where we feel victim in our story, where we feel like we can't mitigate conflict, like there's no resolution in sight, so why even try? Um, and that can result in us kind of closing off to energy that might have been really transformative and helpful for us if we just allowed ourselves to have the courage to speak our truth and to properly communicate. Um, yeah. Um, so if you are someone who, has this conflict that's been lingering on your heart and you don't feel like there's a way out of it, I encourage you to find a way that you can center yourself, meditate on it, communicate it, even if it starts with you creating a voice note, writing out notes, drawing art, something that will allow you to get that energy out of you. Um, of course, it's great to process it first, and it's ideal if we can to communicate with the person or the energy that is in need of some kind of resolution. But I would just say that if you can, or if you feel like there's no way out, just take some time to reassess and maybe get a second opinion from someone that you trust and love, someone who you feel loves you unconditionally. Shoot, sometimes you gotta just sit there and talk to the creator or the energy that connects us all, however you want to address that. Um, there may also be a life-changing connection on the horizon. That's another thing to consider. And when we are in our most healed and healthy place and we are nourishing ourselves, then we can see ourselves in our divinity and we can celebrate ourselves. And when we can see ourselves in our divinity, despite, you know, our shadows or with integrating those shadows we've discovered, only then can we really look at others and do the same with them and encourage them to do that as well. Okay. All right. Oh, also with this card, I'm feeling encouraged to say, I know that certain things are all the rave on the internet at times, like twin flames, right? And there are certain things we can get so deeply entrenched in that put up we put a shadow on other things we should be able to see, and so we block certain things out of our awareness. Um, don't don't feel that you have to force a story. You know, like, yeah, X might be your twin flame, or X might have a deep connection with you. You feeling that someone is your twin flame, or you feeling like you have to make someone your twin flame, can lead to really unhealthy things. And you know, I've seen some people go, oh, that's my twin flame, so then they make exceptions to their own rules, and they don't maintain their boundaries, and then they spiral and to this love that might be profound or might not be. um, so I would just caution things like trauma bonding. If you don't know what that is, look it up. And ultimately, I would just say, do your shadow work, boo. If you do your shadow work, if you know thyself, can't nobody else tell you who you are. And you know yourself allows a portal into knowing others for their true selves. Okay, so the last card that I pulled is about where we should be putting our energy. Man, I love this card. Look what it is. Luminescence. Isn't this a beautiful card? Are y'all seeing the themes yet? Like, and are you inspired yet, my artist friends? This is a muse deck, okay? Um, so by the way, luminescence means the essence of light. And I have to say that with the word light coming up for me earlier, I actually wrote down some things about the word light, about love, and about wholeness, as those kind of are themes I noticed in these cards and in my meditation. And so I noted the solar values of these different words. And then from there, I found the card of destiny, or the playing card that corresponds to each word. What's interesting is for most words, capitalization does matter. So if you spell if you calculate love with a capital L, it's going to generate one numeric value versus if you calculate it with the lowercase l. And sometimes the cards will be the same, but not all the time. Other times it'll be like one card is even a higher version of the other card. For example, a 5 of clubs and a 5 of spades. So, anyhow, the word light is actually a 4 of hearts and a 4 of diamonds. And the 4 of diamonds is the card of like inheritance. And so I noted here that light is inherited, question mark, because in a way it is, in the sense that when we transition from the physical body that we're in now, um, our light, our energy, our soul, it travels to a new form and inherits, and that new form inherits our light. So I thought that was interesting. And then also, light is family, because 4 of hearts is like representative of family and like those like unbreakable bonds in a way, in the home. And so that's just something to ponder, right? But let me get back to the cards. Okay. So, luminescence, this is a card of self-love, of the light that radiates from our hearts, light shining in the darkness, heart-centered living, again, removing your heart armor. Authentic heartfelt needs, a vulnerable, wide open heart, which, by the way, the card love is tied to the number 2. And that number, that card specifically, when you look at like cartomancy, the 2 of hearts is a card associated with vulnerability. And in cardology, it's associated with like harmony, cooperation, and unity. And then with it being associated with the 2 of diamonds, then love is also associated with partnership or rivalry, or specifically like business partnership. So interesting, right? This card is about self-acceptance and self-love and like radiating your authentic self, which I think you can kind of see here. She's like happy to show her heart, and the light that's around it. Like, I have nothing to hide. I'm going to be seen for exactly who I am, and I love it. She's carefree. So, consider the parts of yourself you may not be accepting. You may be experiencing an inner dissonance due to what you are trying to push away. This card is about self-love. That is the deep, compassionate, unconditional love of self that brings you into wholeness. Luminescence means the essence of light. There is nothing that makes us shine more than a heart that is full of love. You can shine through the shadows most gracefully when there is no fear within. Accept your shadows so they can more easily resolve. Allow more light and love inside and out of your world. I think this card brings all the pieces of this reading together. And it makes sense because that's where we should place our energy towards. So ultimately, what this reading is saying is to honor, to know, to care for, and to love thyself deeply and unconditionally. Allow yourself to be vulnerable, to be seen, to be heard, and love on and encourage others the same way that you love on yourself, bearing in mind energetic boundaries. This is such a beautiful reading. I think we can all benefit from shadow work. You know, some people say, oh, I did my shadow work. But really, shadow work is an everyday thing when you live in this modern world. It really is. It really is. The last thing I'm going to do here is pull a affirmation card and a crystal card. I've already shuffled these, so they should be ready to go. Let's see. All right, Spirit, what do we have to offer the collective today in terms of a affirmation card? What do we have to offer today? No, I'm only going to take one. I'm only going to take one. Okay. We got this card that says, I know that I am the only one who determines what is and isn't right for me. I am the final say. Once again, when you know yourself, you don't need somebody to tell you about yourself. And you know what's right for you. Use that throat chakra and command the fact that you are the final say. Okay. Oh, wow. Card already popped out. So I also decided to go ahead and pull a crystal card. And what we got is, funny enough, the 5 of clubs, which is interesting because I was looking at the word heart space, both capitalized and lowercase, and found that heart space is a 5 of clubs when the H is capitalized. And when it's lowercase, it's the 5 of spades. But the 5 of spades contains the 5 of clubs anyway. So anyhow, the crystal we got is Rhodonite. And this is about forgiveness, love, and emotional healing. How wonderful. I think that really helped to tie this reading together. I'll leave you with this, a little bit about the 5 of clubs. It is a card of adaptability. And yes, our heart spaces must adapt to allow in more, as well as to, you know, configure things to our energetic boundaries sometimes as a means of protection. The 5 of clubs is also associated with traveling, also associated with feelings kept private, heart space things, and cartomancy, specifically in the system by Anna Cortez and her father, the playing card oracles. The 5 of clubs is represented by the story of a wind cape, and this is kind of centered around the fact that we can be filled with many ideas and opinions and can feel that we are sometimes blowing in many different directions. It's also an energy of surprising realizations. And it's true, you can stumble across some surprising things or be lovingly reminded of some things when you do take time to center yourself in your heart space and get to know it. So that's what I have for you today. I pray that you found something um, to reflect on, to assess, or to honor from this reading. And I appreciate you for watching. All right. Peace, love, harmony, and wholeness. Stay well.